a little bit till everything goes live.
And we live.
Cool. All right. Episode 15, Pod-A-Holics. What's up? I got a new
What's up?
background and shit. So, I'm feeling fancy now. I got the fuck, what do you call this shirt? I don't know what to do. I got this button down shirt.
Your fucking professor's jacket. I don't know.
I got a professor's jacket. No, it's like
Getting
it's
paid.
fall time now.
You
It's
get,
fall time. You know?
bro. You know what are you talking about? Fall, man. Where are you from? It's still hot as fuck, and it's still summer outside.
No, it's like
bro.
60 degrees. So it's like fall weather now. It's 61 outside. So today I can wear like a kind of like a shirt like this where it's still open. And it's now 2 days ago it was hot as hell. It was 93. And then the next day it was like 60. It was perfect. But now I can rock these, feel comfortable. I don't have to turn on my AC in the house anymore. Everything stays nice and cool. It's like the perfect time, bro. September is the month. And my birthday was 2 days ago. Come on, man. Talk to me nice, man. Come on.
Okay, fine.
The
All
whole
right.
September. The whole September is
Okay,
my
okay,
birthday.
okay. All right. I'll give you that. September gets a little cooler, so y'all that are fine. Whatever. You don't have to worry about it. I get. Yeah, it's pretty because the leaves are changing colors. Awesome, Kevin. Welcome to almost being 30 and being old as fuck.
And pumpkin spice lattes. That's what I'm drinking right now. Homemade. I'm as basic bitch as they come, bro. Me. I I am the basic bitch.
Like you may as well go get like a red plaid, some Lululemons, and some Uggs too.
100%. I've already been looking at the red Uggs. The indoor ones, the short tops.
Yo, okay. In all fairness, though, man, I've been fucking looking for like Ugg slip-on shoes for the house. I will not lie; those things are clutch, especially when you go walk your dog outside in the morning, bathing. You want to keep your feet all warm and toasty. Just yeah. Well, see, but here's the thing. The reason why I don't like fall is because I know, especially here in Calgary, that means winter is like 2 weeks away. Like I won't be surprised if next week there is snow on the ground.
Dude, I love snow.
Yeah, but do you live in it?
No, but
Do
I
you
love
visit
snow.
it? Yeah, because you visit it.
No. Well, I mean, snow happens here from like November to March.
Like consistent on the ground?
Not like all the time, but
Oh,
it's like I would say three weeks out of December, January, February. It's like consistently snow on the roads, not in the grass, kind of thing.
okay. So yeah, so it's usually like here, it's like, well, especially Calgary because our weather's bipolar as fuck. We can literally have I've seen snow literally every month of the year. Yeah, middle of August, July, seen snow. That being said, now on the other side with that, when it gets down to like minus 30, minus 40, and it stays like that for like a month and a half straight, and then you got like snow up that fun as well, then people will forget how to drive, and especially here, like the first day of snow all the time, there's like 500 car accidents in a day. It's ridiculous.
Good thing you have an Audi.
Good thing I'm
Audi's
flying
a
my
four-wheel
ass
drive,
out
right?
here. Yeah. So Audis, they're quad show. They're really good in the
Yep.
winter, but it's just a good thing that south, just like a snowbird.
I got a Tahoe, so I'm about to be every winter fucking
You
running
got
over
Braho.
everything, bro.
You got
Yes,
Braho.
bro. I'm fucking, and it's got the big tires. I'm running over everything.
Yeah, I hate Tahoes. No, not because you got one. I just hate Tahoes in general. Now.
It's okay. Corey's a hater on episode 15, Pod-A-Holics.
Yeah,
All
we're going
right,
straight roasting on this one.
no, but anyways, today's episode we're going to be talking about the coaching industry and why coaches tend to fail in their endeavors as a coach online, and sometimes in person as well. Um, for me, I would say that I got a pretty good desire for both online and in person. Like I love both for several different reasons. But the reasons why I think coaches love either online or in person is because they ultimately just want to coach. Like it's fun to coach. It's fun to be in front of people. It's fun to build friendships. It's fun to kind of yell at people sometimes. It's also fun to see people cry and then break through barriers. Like I've had people cry because they can't make a box jump, and then almost like leave the session, turn back around and say, fuck this, I'm hitting this box jump, hit it, and then cry even more out of happiness. And that also brings a whole lot of joy. But it isn't until the business shit hits that people fail. Um, and look, don't get me wrong, it's happened to me, truthfully. Gym number one back in 2015. The start of my online fitness journey, and even in the middle of it. Okay. When I had my first business coach, I didn't succeed very well. I had my second, I did pretty decent. Towards the end of 2020, shit was not good. Okay. And then it was like up and down, up and down, up and down. And the big thing is that it was really hard to put passion of coaching and then also mix in the business stuff. And it makes it really tough for coaches who never thought of being a business owner all the way to keep the passion of coaching high when the passion of business is not even there to begin with. And when you start it continues to go lower, and then that brings down the passion for coaching. And then afterwards, people are like, fuck it, I don't even want to do coaching anymore. So today, we're going to talk about some of those things, some of those topics that coaches kind of, I would say about themselves, say about their online businesses. Fuck, I've even seen really good coaches make decent stretches at the beginning and love the coaching. And then after shit gets hard and they don't want to be business owners anymore, throw in the towel and go do something completely different.
Mhm.
So lots of different reasons.
Yeah, like, and a lot of this is going to come down to some of the pure facts too. That at the end of the day, a lot of these online coaches that you see on social media, whether they're just getting started, whether they've been there for a while, or whatever the case may be, a lot of times, and again, like you'll obviously see those ones that are absolutely killing it, like they're crushing it. They have clients all over the place. They have teams. They have big businesses and all that. But you got to remember that's only about 10%. That's about 10%, maybe 15% of actual online coaches. And this, well, even the online businesses, to be completely honest, too, like entrepreneurship is not something easy. Yes, it is a very attractable lifestyle because honestly, when you get to say, like, yeah, I work for myself, I work and do this, like it is cool. It's also a really cool lifestyle too. If you get to the point where you can have the freedom to do the things that you want, like a lot of coaches, people will go traveling. Like I have friends that will go traveling all over the place because they set up their business for that. I have friends
Yep.
that are just hustling and grinding because you know what, they're driven by money, materialistic things. Nothing wrong with that. And then I have other friends that have massive clientele because they look at their bank account as an indicator of how many people that they're helping. So like there's lots of successful ones, but that's only 10 to 15% of them. Where the remaining 90 to 85% of these online coaches, they're sitting around like just what they would be getting if they were doing a 9 to 5, working in the gym or whatever the case may be. But they're making enough to where like they got a comfy lifestyle. Like they're not too stressed out about bills, but then it's also a consistent struggle where it's like, okay, if I keep losing clients, I'm not going to be making enough. I need to keep gaining. So they're not thriving. They're still trying to strive at this point. So there is going to be that sticking point, but then there's also going to be that shelf where a lot of coaches, when they start reaching this point and they can't break through, that's where they're going to start throwing in the towel because now they start looking at, okay, I don't actually get a whole lot of time to coach my clients. I get maybe 3 hours a week to do my check-ins, meal plans, and programs. And now I got to do marketing. I got to do lead generation. I got to do sales. Oh shit. I got to do management and hiring and payroll and all these other things that honestly a lot of coaches don't even realize when they get started in this online space. And that's where a lot of them start burning the candle at both ends, me, myself included. Kevin, I'm sure you can agree with this too.
Hell yeah.
But we start losing our passion for even fucking coaching,
For
where we're
even
like, I
fucking
don't
coaching.
want to talk about macro. I don't want to talk about why you can't. I don't want to talk about because you're so consistently burning yourself out, trying to get people into your business, trying to create content to put yourself out there to separate yourself
Mhm.
from all these other online coaches. But then here's the thing, all this stuff starts spilling into each other when you don't have enough time for marketing. So then you just start creating content once in a while. But now the content that you create is the same exact regurgitated bullshit that everyone else is saying. So now you're just
Mhm.
blending in with the mix and you're not standing out. And then when you don't stand out and you're just essentially blended in, you're basically out of sight and out of mind. So no one's thinking of you when they go for their health and their fitness goals. So now you're sitting there saying, okay, the market's saturated. There's too many coaches here. You can't get
I hear that
leads,
all the
can't do
time.
this, can't do X, Y, and Z. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, that's been the same consistent thing I've been hearing since since I started, which was in 2018. Same consistent thing. And that goes across the board. Like I've done business coaching with a couple different mentorships. I created one with two friends of mine. Then we had a falling out, and that's kind of said of that story. And then I've also worked with where I met Kevin here, and then we worked together at NLCA, and then we were able to understand a lot of things that are going on, and the message was still the same. That a lot of these coaches, when they get into this online space, they're not thinking about all these other things they got to do. They're thinking about coaching their clients. I'm going to post and people are going to come to me. I was able to get tons of clients in the gym. I'll get and they think it's just going to be able to be transitional and a nice smooth transition, where realistically in-person coaching in a gym is very, very different than an online coaching entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And this is where we need to start really understanding what goes into all this, so that way we can start finding out what needs to change in this space. So that way there isn't a big gap between the successful ones who are living the lives that they want, and then those that are working their asses off from 6 a.m. to midnight every single night, doing all these different things they need to be doing because they see this person do this, that person do this coach said to do this mentor said to do this, and they keep trying these things and they never actually see success. So even though they might be trying different things over and over again, they're still following the same structure that they're learning from all these mentorships. And that goes across the board from all the mentorships that I've seen. Even though they're all different in their own way, they're all pretty much the exact fucking same. And this is where, and they're structured so that way those top 15 to 10% of coaches will be successful. But that's also why there's a huge drop off in these companies all the time. And this is why, because they drop off because they're not making money, stressed, they burnt the candle at both ends, they're tired, they're overwhelmed, they're also like, fuck it, I'm done, I don't want to do this shit. And then they do one of three things. They do exactly what you just said, where they quit their job, they quit their business, they say fuck it to health and fitness and go do something completely different. There's others that will quit their online and move right back into the gym that they hated before, kind of like a fitness client jumping off their program and falling back into old habits and routines. The exact same thing happens to coaches falling back into the gym. They may not go work a gym, they may not quit the online space, they go work another online coach in their business, which essentially is just being a coach in the gym again. Yeah, so like this is where me and Kevin have like talked about this a lot, that there's a lot of these things that come into play when we are trying to build a successful online business. But the things that we need to start looking at is, are you actually prepared to do the things that you need to do? Or are you just grasping at straws, hoping that this is going to work for you, and you already know this doesn't line up with who you are? I know for me, going to a lecture at university and going through a degree like that didn't work because I never went to class. I studied in books and shit, and then I was just able to figure it out through all these other resources. But that's the other part too, is you got to learn how to get resourceful if whatever program you're in isn't working for you. And this is where it's important, because a lot of these things that can essentially stop you from seeing success, stop you from seeing progress, are most likely going to be the things that you feel that you need to do to be successful, but aren't actually the truth. Like Kevin, I'm sure you've heard this one as well, that you need a big following to be successful online. And then not only that, you also need to spend hours and hours and hours and hours inside of DMs just to find people. And that's really not the case, because just like Kevin, you're completely different from me. You communicate different than I do. You get your point across differently than I do, and you are able to connect with people differently than I do. That doesn't mean that what I'm doing is wrong, because what I do works, but what you do works. But it's figuring out what's going to be best for each individual person, because they're just like a health and fitness client, there is no one size fits all. And that's where I find a lot of these online coaches fall into, is getting into these mentorships, getting into these courses, trying to learn, but then they realize I want to fucking learn. I just want to coach my clients. But then they don't see the other steps they need. And this is where I find a lot of them fall into like the trap. and then fall into those three options we just talked about. But
I wanna put something in perspective
mhm,
for a lot of coaches. If you're listening right now, and I see there's a few people in the Facebook page right now watching. If you're a coach and you're watching this, let us know you're in the chat because I want to know if you're here or not. One thing, I've worked at LA Fitness. I worked at Anytime Fitness. I've worked at Gold's Gym. I've worked at a CrossFit gym. Um, and I've done the online thing. What I've also done is I've sold cars. Um, and I even worked for a company called Angie's List for a little bit. And
like
Angie's
Craigslist.
List, no, Angie's List is kind of. Angie's List is where businesses go and essentially pay for marketing on Angie's List that are contractors. So Angie's List is the number one site for contractors and things like that, for like lawn care, whatever, right? So things that are related to your home, and businesses go on there. So it's the lead gen side of things that I saw a consistency with. So we can all agree that if you're a coach, okay, if you're listening to this, raise your hand. We all been at an LA Fitness. We've all been at an Anytime Fitness. We've all been at some Globo gym. And there's always somebody at the front desk or a salesperson. It doesn't matter who you are, they're bothering the fuck out of you to try to sell you PT. I was one of them. Okay. I was the personal training director that was like, "Oh, we got a new member and we got a phone number and we got a name. I'm calling you 3 times a day till you answer." Okay. At the beginning, I wasn't very good at communicating my desires to get you signed up. Okay. But I was still able to sign people up. Okay. And when we signed people up, they went with the trainer. And thankfully, we had decent trainers. When they're with that trainer, their stress typically lowers because they're like, oh, okay, even though my experience with Kevin or the salesperson wasn't that great, because I wasn't knowledgeable really. I was just kind of like getting started. Um, my experience with my trainer is good. And what I'm trying to get at with this is that getting people through the door to get interested in personal training and the communication that goes behind that doesn't have to be perfect. And this is where a lot of coaches fail. Your coaching is A1, but your communication leading up to the coaching is very subpar. And coaches want to get that communication so perfect that they never sign anybody up and then they think they're failures. So for me, the past 2 years, actually the past 3 years, I try to get really good at communication. I try to get really, I would say, beyond the average level of coaches in the sense like, how can I get better at the communication side of this? Because I believe I'm a good coach. But what if, since I'm already a dummy anyways, in the sense of like, I'm a dummy because I didn't give a fuck how I looked to the other person. I called them 3 times regardless, and I still signed people up. And I was a fucking dummy. Imagine if I wasn't a dummy with the same like work ethic. So I made it a thing to where I would get really good. But my point here is that you can be a dummy still, have decent work ethic, not have the messaging be so perfect and the lead generation be so damn perfect. But then when they're in the door, show off your coaching skills. And I think that's where coaches would be a little bit more successful in their businesses because now they have people to the door. But most coaches don't get any clients because they're so afraid on how they're going to look in the messages, when if they just compared themselves to like a big company like LA Fitness, most of the guys, truthfully, a lot of the PT directors and a lot of the people selling PT aren't even in shape to begin with, and they're selling PT deals. A lot of them aren't. Some of the VPs aren't in shape. They don't know shit about personal training, but their communication is decent. But what I'm trying to get at is that first initial step doesn't have to be perfect. It isn't until you're in with the coach as a client, and it isn't until you get that client in as a coach that things are going to become better. And if people could just be dummies at the beginning and let things just kind of flow a little bit easier, Great. And this is where some coaching businesses and academies and accelerators and like all this stuff really fails, that they try to give you the perfect script, whereas it doesn't need to be the perfect script. It just needs to be like genuine connection, maybe a little laughing, a little awkwardness, like, hey, why don't we jump on a call kind of thing? And then that imperfection can then slowly build up to what would be a perfect coaching program if you're a good coach. So if you can compare yourself to how bad some salespeople are, but yet they still sell deals and they're happier once they're with their coach. If you compare yourself to that, I think that people would be a little bit more relaxed on being so like fucking anal about the way that they get people through the doors. And also when you try to be too perfect in the DMs or like your marketing and things like that, typically clients pick up on this shit. Leads pick up on this, and they see, oh, this is like a try hard dude. Just go ahead and say what you got to say, dude. Just say what you got to say. Why are we beating around the bush,
Mhm.
right? So I think that the 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 smarter you try to be, the more you hold yourself back, right? And that's kind of like the problem that coaches are facing, is that they join academies, they join mentorships. I mean, I've joined 5 of them. Okay, so at this point in time, I kind of know the approach. All these scripts
Built
are
one,
just
joined
perfect.
three.
Yeah. So it's like you, dude, if you could just simplify it and just be yourself at the beginning, and not be so like stressed out about the fucking lead generation side of things, things will go so much simpler.
Hmm. And you know what? And I think part of it, the reason is why too, is people get way too caught up in one thing. And I feel like this is where like a lot of coaches really fall to this, is that yes, I understand we want to build a lifestyle. Yes, I understand that we want to create a comfy lifestyle for ourselves. Yes, I understand that you want to pay your bills, support your family, and all that stuff. But this is where I feel a lot of coaches really get lost, is because they see all these other online coaches, these mentors, and things like that. And the majority of them, what are they pushing? Money. They're pushing money. They're sitting there flexing, saying, "Oh, I made X, Y, and Z. I did this. I bought a Lambo. I did all this." It's like, yo, do you not realize that no one really gives a fuck about that? And what you really need to look at is what is it that you can provide on the platform that's authentic and genuine?
Yeah.
Because that is going to be the biggest problem. Because then when these coaches get caught into this mindset that's about money, about this is where they get inside these mentorships, and then they're always just about that. But then now when they get inside these mentorships and they're just trying to chase after like just money, like by the way, there's nothing wrong with being materialistic. There's nothing wrong with it. Some
There's
people
nothing
are
wrong
like
with it.
it. Nothing wrong with it. Here's the thing: when that becomes your driving, you're really going to lose sight of why you're even passionate about it, to the point where
Yeah.
you're not even going to want to do it. And like that's where a lot of these coaches fall into, and then they fall into these mentorships that are promising them, oh, you're going to make this, you're going to make this, you're going to make this. It's like, well, you got to remember, like just a stat is a stat for a reason. It's not because it's just some random bullshit. Stats are stats for reasons. And if you're focusing on the wrong things, or focus on just to make money, you start overlooking all these other things. Look at too, and this from the coaching side, when you look at you got to look at how your online business is going to support the life you want to live. And that's what I feel like a lot of people fall into, is that there is, and just like a fitness client, there is no one program that's going to get them a result. Just like there is no one program that's going to get online coaches a results. Just like how there is no one program structure for you. So that's why there's all you got to look at. Because you're prepared to get into something that you don't even know if you're ready for. That's where I'm going to find a lot of people struggle. Where just like a fitness program, you have to have something that's going to fit within your parameters of what it is it that you're looking for. Are you looking to be the CEO? Are you looking to do the management, the marketing, the sales, the directing, all these things? Or are you looking at, I want to train clients? And you got to give yourself a hard look. Are you that coach that wants to coach clients? Because there's tons and tons and tons of ways that you can still coach your clients, but not give up your dream and go work for someone else. But
Yep.
that's where they get caught up in these mentorships where it's like, no, it's this way of doing it, this way of doing it, this way of doing it. If you're not doing it right, if you're not doing that, then you're doing something wrong and you need to fix what you're doing wrong to do something right. Well, it's like, you know what? Sometimes that something right isn't what's right for them. And then they keep on striving and pushing towards something that isn't realistic for them. Just like
Mm.
how if someone is going inside the gym and they're doing all these things that's not realistic for them or even in line with the goals that they have for themselves. So, like for instance, let's say you got someone who's really wanting to focus on mobility, flexibility, their endurance because they want to go run marathons. Are you? Probably not. Because if you did that, then what's going to happen to that marathon runner?
It's gonna get
They're going
slow.
to do, yeah, they're going to do pretty shitty. So
They're gonna get
same
slow
type
and
of
get
thing.
tired.
If exactly, so if you're trying to business, not around the goals of yourself or around your strengths, then you're essentially just trying to be like everyone else. And then if you're trying to be like everyone else, like just like we know with a fitness program, that program is not going to work for everyone. Just because it worked for me, just because it worked for Kevin, just because it worked for someone else does not mean it's going to work for you because you might not even want to be in that position. And you might just say, this has nothing to do with me, nothing with what I want to do. And then you say, fuck it again. So there's
Yep.
all these different reasons why coaches can fall and fail. Sometimes they're just not prepared to take on all the responsibilities of CEO. Sometimes they're just not mentally prepared to build and scale a business to the measurements that they're comparing themselves to and don't understand it takes time. And then sometimes they're building a business that has absolutely zero alignment with their values, beliefs, and their life goals. But that's because we're trying to conform to this idea of an online coach that we have to be, which makes
Yep.
zero sense to me because my life completely different from Kevin's life, but yet we do a lot of similar things.
I think that's one of the big struggling things that a lot of coaches have is that whenever they join, um here's one company I like that I honestly, um my last mentorship, I'm not going to mention any names, because they did drop the ball with me, I felt. um
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this.
yeah, they did drop the ball with me, I think. And my opinion, for several different reasons, but one thing I did like about them is that um there was no like level 2 program, in the sense of like when you hit this level of income, you can then ascend and have so much stigma around that like second level, because there are a lot of coaches that I've talked to. I don't want to mention names because I really don't have permission for the names of the coaches, but I have talked to coaches where I've asked them like, hey, do you want to ascend into the next level of XYZ program? And they were like, honestly, no. I came from the corporate world where I made $35,000 per year, and right now I'm making $12,000 to $15,000. I have no intentions on growing any longer, at least with a team. So therefore, I don't fit the qualifications of the level 2 program. I'm good right where I'm at. And I think a lot of programs have that stigma where it's not just like if you stay with us longer, you'll get a cut in like the mentorship. Like if the mentorship costs $1,000 a month, if you stay with us past 8 months, because you've been with us for so long, we're gonna reduce your mentorship price to $750. That would be different, right? You're kind of
Mm.
like the tenured student. But a lot of programs have this like, once you're done with the level 1 program, we have nothing left for you other than the level 2 program. But the level 2 program has a floor level of $20,000 that you have to be making in your business. But it's like not every coach wants to grow, and maybe they want to grow for themselves but not want to grow teams. And that's kind of the thing, is like, and then coaches feel like, I'm a little bit of a failure because I can't get into this other program, and I don't know who to go for help anymore because I can't continue here because their program isn't a continuous thing. Versus I can just do things on my own. But what if I run into problems where I don't know how to handle? There are very little programs that have that. My last mentorship, even though they dropped the ball on a few things, they didn't have that level 2 thing, and I thought that was good. I honestly like that. They just kept working with you. You could just re-sign, and they brought value to all different coaches. And of course they didn't have brand new people. They kind of had a little bit of a filtering to it. But I like that. I think that works instead of like stressing out the coach or the business owner to be so really stressed out about going to that next level. Because a lot of coaches, they build teams and they want to consistently hit 15, 20. They may even reach a little bit higher, but they may not want to grow big teams all the time. They may want to keep small teams because they may be like, look, at 100 clients, me and my assistant coach, we can deliver like the best service.
Yeah.
And if we get past 100 clients, it's going to be really hard for us to deliver really good services. So again, some mentorships and academies have these level twos, level threes, where then it becomes really hard for the coach to be motivated to continue doing business sometimes. Not saying that the coach at 100 clients would close their doors, but it would be like, who do I go to for help now?
Mm.
Because if I go into this level 2 program, they're going to push me more than likely to keep growing, and I just don't want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was cool that that one student, that one coach, told me that she doesn't want to grow past 15K, or grow past 20 because she's a one woman show, and I think it's cool to
Mm-hmm.
hear stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
and it.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna kind of just continue on with that, and like again, like I don't necessarily I don't necessarily think it's the fact that I don't want to grow in terms of I don't want to grow my income. Because I think with something like that, when they think growth, that's where they think I gotta hire this, and do this. But again, that's if you keep following the same structure
Mm,
that they're pushing. And
yeah.
that's the problem, is like you can't learn anything more in that level one. But then even the level two, let's say you can learn some, but then it's not even the stuff that you want to learn.
Yeah.
So that's where I find a lot of these mentorships, they lack in that, because
Exactly. It's not even the stuff you want to learn.
they push
Yeah.
an agenda that's something you're like, this has zero relevance to me because I don't want to have a team.
Mm,
And here's the thing, there's some coaches, like, so I was talking to another one, and she was telling me that, Corey, I don't really want high ticket. I don't want to do one-on-one clients. I don't want to do check-ins. I don't want to do all this customized one-on-one, not because I can't do it, but because it's not in line with the life I want. I
yeah.
want freedom. I want the ability to travel. I want to have the means to travel, with me being able to spend the time in my business, but not to the point where I completely agree with it, because that fucking sucks. It sucks traveling. Even if you are traveling, you still have to work majority of the time. So yeah, you know what? That might not be in line for what you want. You might be busy, 2 kids, 3 kids, and you have to go run, do all these different things. So you don't have time to make all this content, all this
Yeah.
time to do DMs, all this time to do this. You might not have time to be a high ticket coach. And then if you can't be a high ticket coach and that's the only structure that's taught, you think you're a failure, you think you're not cut out for this, and you got to quit. Where realistically, it's not a breakage in you, it's a broken system for you. And
Yeah,
this is
I'm
where,
glad that I
again,
had signed up to like 5 different coaching programs and did 5 different courses because I would have never really picked up on any other way to do this. Because
mhm,
truthfully, like a lot of them were pushing like high ticket client check-ins and things like that, where it doesn't always have to be that way. It doesn't always
no,
have to be checking in with clients and doing things that way. And sometimes it almost would even make more sense, instead of doing like Loom check-ins and like video recordings and things like that, to then almost like triple or quadruple or 5x your price to get a client, so that then you can talk to them on Zoom instead of like checking in like once a month and go visit their home, and just do that, to where you give like a one-time consultation. You spend 2 days with your client, and you can do this all over the world, or all over the United States, or all over your city, or whatever. I know he wouldn't mind me sharing his name. Jake Wan does this,
oh,
right?
does
Jake is
he?
paid. Yes, he does this. So he dude, Jake Wan did this completely well, completely well. So obviously, like I was helping him with like his business and high ticket kind of check-in process. But then once he started doing his own thing, now what he does is that he charges, I don't know what he charges, but I know it's a lot. We talked a little bit about it. I don't know what final number he came up with, but I know it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, $8,000. Like it's not cheap whatsoever. but he goes like he went to. I don't know if you were watching his stories about a month and a half ago. Shout out Jake Wan, by the way. Um, uh,
He's good
but
shit.
he went to Virginia, I think is what it was. And he has a client that paid for him to go out there, and he spent I think like a week with this client. Literally took him all over his city, found him local farms, went shopping with him, taught him how to choose his food, taught him how to cook it, I think, taught him how to meditate, taught him to go to the gym and things like that for an entire week. I think that's cool as fuck. And then you can travel, get the traveling out of the way, build actual connections, only have to spend time with one client, completely make a life-changing um completely have a life-changing week for the client. Because if somebody spends, let's be real, if somebody spends an entire week and literally they sleep with you, they're in your house, and every single habit that you have, they are sitting there breaking it down, and they teach you to go to the store, and they teach you to cook, and they teach you where you can buy all these things, and they teach you to meditate, dude, that is at least worth 8 grand, I would
Hell
say.
yeah.
Because then afterwards, how can you say, oh, I don't know how to do it? Literally somebody was right there with you doing it. So I think that's super cool, where let's say you're charging $500, $600 per client per month. Fuck it, five exit and go see them, go spend time with them, and literally do everything for them for a week. And I think that's super cool, truthfully.
So
It's a
coaches,
dope,
y'all want
ass thing.
yo coaches, y'all want me to come visit you? I'll come make some content with y'all. I'll come chill, show you how to make videos, train your clients. Yo, if anyone wants to cover my travel expenses, bet I'll do that. But if it's in a colder climate, it has for here October 30th, because I'm not flying there. You know.
That's funny. No, but yeah, dude, I feel like we could do a part 2 on this, to not extend it too much. But the big thing today for me is like, for you coaches that are out there that are wanting to like really build your businesses, um really decide what you want to do. Because honestly, there are a bunch of people out there that would probably find clients for you, ads and things like that. And then also, sometimes we get pushed like, don't do an agency, don't do shit. I was one of them. I was like, I would hear it from a lot of coaches like, don't do agencies, don't do agencies. If you're not good at it, don't do agencies yet. And sometimes I forget that LA Fitness is an agency for coaches. They are very much an agency. Okay, they just rape you with the charge. Like, they keep 75% of everything, pretty much. But there are other things out there. Um, fuck, it's funny that we've been kind of talking about some things, but somebody DM me the other day, and they were trying to get me to sign up to some program, and they ended up shooting me the information, and it's pretty much something that's similar to what you sent me the other day. A done for you for coaches, and I'm like, shit, this company looks legit. You sent me that company, Lemus or whatever.
Mhm.
There was another company, I can't remember the name. And I'm like, yo, coaches do just want to be coaches, because companies like this exist to where they remove the business ownership side of things, and they pay you really, really well. And it's still your business. It's still they just help you with the lead gen side of things.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
essentially what for those that are trying to wrap their head around something like this, essentially what that is, it's imagine so for instance, so you know how like celebrities, movie stars, professional athletes and all that, they all have agents, right? And why do they have agents? Because those agents, they know the market, they know how to find deals, they know how to structure deals, they know how to create the best offers, they know how to get you the absolute best value for you. So then at that point, now they build these for you, you close the contract, and then now that's all said and done for you. So now again, you just focus on the coaching and the things that you're
Yep.
good at. Yes, do they take a small percentage? For sure. But then that's also deals that
For sure.
you now don't even have to worry about. So those times, so for instance, so for that mom that has 3 kids, doesn't want to work a 9 to 5 because she wants to be around, but she needs the time to lead gen, market, do all these things. Well, now think about all that time you just got back because it's getting done for you. Now you have all this time to go be with your family, to go do the life that you want to live, do the things that you want to do. Yes, you do need to pay a little bit for that, but then that's a little bit for your time. and they say you can't buy time, to me that sounds like buying time. And I
Yeah.
will spend all of that to be able to do all the things that I want to do, while I
Yeah.
know for a fact all my stuff in my business is being handled, which is exactly what I'm actually doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think delegation is huge. And delegation isn't always. I'll give you a story. I was talking to my little sister yesterday. My little sister's 15, and hopefully my little sister's not listening because I'm not gonna shit on her. I'm just sharing a little bit of a personal side of things. So Nicole, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I love you. But she told me yesterday she had not gone to school for 2 days, and she told me that at first my dad told me that she was feeling sick. So this was not yesterday, but the day before yesterday. So I called in to check in yesterday again, and he goes, Nicole's not doing well mentally. She's argumentative right now, and thankfully my dad's super fucking cool, bro. Like my dad is like, bro, I can't praise my dad enough, straight up. But he's super cool. He's very calm, cool, collected. But I called my little sister afterwards. He's like, why don't you give her a call? And she said that she's afraid of asking for help. That she feels, and she's 15, that she feels that life is really hard for her because she sees all other students learning faster and better than she is. And she knows that she should be good at learning things, but she's not. And she feels that she's slow. She feels that she's trying really hard, yet not getting the things that she wants to get out of school. And she says that even though she's trying really hard and she feels that the expectations are really high, she's still failing. And I was talking to her, and it came down to that she feels that she's struggling with asking for help, that she doesn't feel like she needs to ask for help. So I gave her an example of why asking for help is good. Okay. And I don't have to go into the deep example, but guys, this isn't just like an adulthood thing. This is something that is really rooted in us from a very young age. And we're almost taught to never ask for help. And from I think what was it, last episode, Corey, or 2 episodes before that, we were talking about how if we were to reach out to some cool coaches or like Alex Hormozy and they had the time to reach back out and say, hey, how did you do this? That more than likely they'd be like, fuck yeah, I want to teach you, because one, people love talking about things that they know. So I told Nicole, I was like, look,
Yeah.
asking for help isn't a bad thing, because if you go ask for help from somebody who knows the curriculum, let's say it's a math class or whatever, geometry or whatever it is, right? And you go and say, hey, I saw that you did really well on the test. Would you be like willing to maybe like study with me and help me a little bit or whatever? Maybe just like once a week, and then I'll go tutor with somebody else, and then we can go from there. That student will more than likely be like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I know I would have. And then from there, I told Nicole, I was like, Nicole, whenever you get really good at this, guess what? You may have someone notice that you're doing really well, and then they'll come ask you, and then you're gonna forget all of the whole like people can learn at a faster pace than I can. And that's another problem that people are facing as a struggle, is that they're like looking at how fast certain things happen for others, and then it puts them in this like paralysis, and they just don't do anything, period. And this isn't just the fitness world. This has to do with other things too. Like my little sister in school right now, in high school, right? To where if you were to just ask for help and not be in this paralysis, even if you were only going to be 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of where you are now, it's still 3 or 4, 5 steps ahead. If you feel that people are 30, 40, 50 steps ahead, it doesn't matter. You're still moving forward. But it all starts with delegation and asking for help. And I think that's another thing that coaches fail at doing, is because they're pressed on like, oh, but the things are right here in front of me. Why don't I get it? They're right here? I'm not going to go ask for help if they're right here. Well, if you don't get it, then go ask for help, and at least maybe understand a little bit, to the point where you need to then be self-aware, which I talk about self-awareness a lot on this podcast. You need to be self-aware that you're just not like either passionate about this, or this isn't something that's your calling of that part of your business, and then delegate it to somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
period. Because otherwise you're just going to be stuck, like my little sister, stuck in her grades, and then thinking that something's wrong with her, where in reality maybe she's not like fully passionate about certain things, and for the time being she just needs to ask for help,
Yeah, straight
you
up.
know.
And And I think like that's a good point because like yeah, like we did talk about that the other day where we could reach out to multiple people and they would gladly probably sit down and help us. Like same reason why people ask me for help on content creation randomly, and I gladly do it. Right? Like I'm not coaching them or anything like that, but they reach out to me because they like the content I create and they ask me what are some tips on how I do it. I'm like, yeah, sure, there you go.
Yeah.
Again, but like that's the biggest thing where a lot of people they are scared to ask for help because they think that they have to do this all on their own. But then when they go and try to find help, and they're doing these mentorships that, well, let's be honest, they're designed just like a university lecture class. Hours, here's here's go do it.
Yep.
Okay, so what about this is where I hear this all the time. Then they get on these calls with these coaches and be like, okay, so what about this, and this? How do I apply that here? Well, you just gotta go into the course. How's that helping? Right?
Yeah.
If high ticket and you don't like the idea of high ticket, you don't like the idea of check-ins, you don't like the idea of all this, then even when you get on that lead gen, when you get in that call, you're already negatively drawn towards that because you're doing something you don't even want to do. So that is something important. You need to find something that's going to benefit you. You need to find something that's in line with your vision. And then you need to find something that's going to work with your life. And these are going to be the three important parts that you need to understand when you are creating your online business, or if you've already created it and you're just struggling reaching that new level, you're struggling pushing yourself to take that next step, or you're just at the point where you're like, fuck it, I don't want to grow anymore because I don't want to hire a team and do all this shit. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to. There's so many different ways of doing other things, just like there's so many different ways to teach people how to build muscle and lose fat, so many ways to build and scale an online business. And these are where a lot of the times we get so caught up in the things that we don't want to be doing, and we then just have to either fight for it or then we just fight ourselves against it until we burn out and say, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And this is where we need to be able to move on from. But I also think this is the right time for us to take a pause on this and continue this on next week before we give you all the cool
next
deets.
episode 15. Appreciate you guys. Follow us on YouTube, please. And then also on our social media platforms. Keep up. We got some cool things coming up, here soon. Keep up with us. Again, I don't get tired of saying this. Today's episode 15. A few weeks from now is going to be episode 20. A few weeks from them is going to be episode 40. A few months after that, there's only going to be one podcast on Spotify, and it's our podcast. I'm just kidding. But
I'm not kidding.
yeah, guys, appreciate you guys listening today. I saw a lot of people in the Facebook stream coming in and out. So again, always love you guys dropping in here. Appreciate your time. I'll let you guys go. Pod-A-Holics episode 15. Peace out.